Hi, how you going? I'm Ben. I'm the creator of this compendium. This video is just my reflective piece about the compendium in general and how assessment has or will affect my teaching and how it might be changed over the course of doing this compendium. Having a PE background, assessment has always been how an athlete can get better, and using tests through running and your personal bests and how far you can jump, how many possessions you can get in a game and things like that. That's how you were assessed, and that's always been a way that you get better. So in a classroom, my stance on that has always been the opposite. So it's been that kids shouldn't be over assessed; they should be doing things, and it's more about the learning rather than how they get assessed and how they've been tested. So over my years at university, that view has changed some way. I now believe it's invaluable for students to be assessed, and if used in the right way, it can be a really valuable experience for them and for developing their learning. So, not to undervalue assessment has really been the biggest change in my stance. Is that it's not just a test where it can drain students and bring them down and bring their confidence down. If used in the right way, it can be a really powerful tool in their learning and in your teaching. So it's certainly something that's changed in my stance. In the black box reading, so inside the black box, they say that marking is usually conscious but often fails to offer guidance on how work can be improved. So using NAPLAN, for example, looking into that was one of my external high stakes tests that I looked into. It can be, so a lot of the feedback I found on it was that it can bring students down, it stresses them out, teachers don't like it, parents don't like it all the same way. But if that, and I can see that because students do all this work on the test and go through the days of testing, and all they get back is a mark, and they're ranked with all the other students, all the other schools. So people in their class, and they're wondering who got first, who got second, all that sort of thing. But they don't receive any feedback on it, and it's just a mark. So it's a good way for students to see where they are academically, but it's not. It doesn't allow them to go next. So it gets their mark back, but there's no guidance on where they should go next. And if they were given the same test 2 or 3 months down the track, they could make the same mistakes and not knowing where they could have improved. Where it could just be a simple line of feedback to say, you've done this, but it should have been this, and then they can say, I can understand that, and then move forward as a learner. So that's really something that should be looked at. The relationship between teaching, learning, and assessment is, simply that. So teachers teach, students learn, and assessment is the process to determine how successful that has been. So bringing that all together, a teacher can assess three things. They can, after a topic, so they can see how much the students have developed their knowledge. Was the topic too difficult? Was it just right? Was it well below where they should be? Or was it effective? Was it engaging? And could it have been delivered better? So I mean, you're trying to move away from the teacher to student relationship, but be a lot more collaborative in the way that you go about your teaching, and get students involved in the way in assessment and the process that they are assessed. So, and it's not a way that students can say this is what we need to know so they can tick the boxes off, but a way that they're involved in knowing about where they're assessed. So it's not just the teacher knowing, giving them all these activities, and then all of a sudden they're saying, here, this is what you're assessed on. Where students should know what's going to be required of them, and where they should be and what skills they need to develop, so they can demonstrate the skills that you want to see, and it's not just sprung on them and they get put on the spot. So I think that's really important. Over the course of this assignment, I've developed my own knowledge on assessment and the ways in which students are assessed. It gave me an opportunity to wrap myself in a school, like a single school, and see how the way that they assess. And what surprised me is that a lot of people that say, so the people that do say, you shouldn't assess too much, it brings the kids down, are the people that say, where did my child rank? Why did they get the grade they did? And they're really involved in that. So it's a bit contradictory, but as a teacher, you sort of have to balance that and hopefully build a good relationship with not only the students but with parents to make sure that they understand why the children have been assessed, and hopefully that it has been a valuable experience for them, and it hasn't just been engaging activities and then a pen and paper exam or a test. So that's that. What I find interesting, or will find interesting, is where it goes next. So how will assessment evolve? What's the next step for assessment? Will it become compulsory for all students, even if they're not there? They're still going to have to do it, or whether people will be happy just for students to stay home and miss the exam. And hopefully that assessment can build through, not just being a pen and paper exam, but many students learn through touching and feeling and seeing and doing, and hopefully there's opportunities for them to show their skills through that, and it's not just through all this engaging activity and then again, like I said before, a pen and paper exam. My professional stance about assessment will impact on teaching and the students' learning through the way that I assess, and I believe it's a powerful tool. Assessment, and used correctly, will be invaluable in teaching. So making sure that you're not just assessing for the sake of assessing, but you are giving students feedback and guiding them on the right path, giving them a where to next sort of thing, so they can look at their work and then in future projects, build on that and go from there. But for me, John Dewey's been a big influence on my professional stance on assessment. So as I said earlier, having the physical education background, I love getting up there and doing things. And for me in school, that's how it was for me. So I wasn't great at, gathering information through reading and writing, but getting up and doing things through engaging activity was really good for me and developed the way that I learned and developed my skills. So as Louis Menend writes, education at the Dewey School was based on the idea that knowledge is a byproduct of activity. People do things in the world, and doing results in learning something that, if deemed useful, gets carried along into the next activity. And for me, my idea of assessment is that the students will be involved in activities where they see, do, feel, touch, all those sorts of things, and through that they'll retain the information that seems useful to them, and hopefully the assessment from there will be them demonstrating those skills that they've learnt. And then again, like I said, not relying on that pen and paper. So that's been my reflection on assessment and where it is now and where I'd like to see it go. Hopefully that reflects in my teaching when I get to go out and demonstrate those skills, and hopefully I just don't fall back to the way that things are now. And hopefully you can allow the students to demonstrate all the skills that they do have and not just their pen and paper. So thanks for watching. Thanks for looking at the compendium. Cheers. Thank you.